All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another session on Life Talks. Let's see who do we have here with us. So, who do we have today? Thank you for joining us. Hello, Shrikant. Hello, Anuja. Hello, Ashika, Aditi, Aditya. Hi, guys. Welcome another session today. We will again speak about some career prep. To those who you met me before, I'm the moderator for the session, Marketa. I'm really happy to see you here again if you're joining again. If this is your second time, first time, fourth time, this is our fourth session. Please let us know. I would love to know if this is the first time we're meeting. Again, my name is Marketa. I'm connecting from London, from United Kingdom. I'm also having colleagues, which I will introduce very briefly, which you will see through the session. Our master coach on career intelligence, and also a director of our partner engagement, Ms. Anandita Das. So they will be also speaking to you soon. But in the meantime, before we start this session, I just want to know how are you? How are you doing today? Where are you connecting from? Are you in Delhi? Are you in Ahmedabad? Are you in Nagpur? Are you in, where are you? Pune? Are you in Mumbai? Where are you? I would love to see that. I would love to learn that. So let me see who, if I can see the chat window, because I have not seen the chat window yet. Yes, so we have Hamad, Harshada, Harshar, Ishwar. Hello, guys. Kalpesh, Nikita, Niraj, Nisha, Pankaj, Paras. Lots of you here. Again, please, Pooja is in Nagpur. Hi, Pooja. Kanishka, hello. And then Anonymous, hi, mom. Hi, guys. And Jan, Javi, is here also with us. So really, really nice to see you all. Again, please let me know if this is your first time, second time, third time, or fourth time. There will be a few more sessions this month. And let me just tell you what is the topic today, because I wonder whether you do know. And those who did join before, you know, we have done some kind of a topic on a career preparation before. We have been talking about how to get ready for jobs that are not even advertised. So I was asking you, what is it that you would like to do in your career? We had here some future entrepreneurs, future web developers, future programmers, but also future beauticians. So we had amazing pool here. And today we will speak about a topic that relates of things such as, you know, sometimes you actually do have to write your CV. So although we said, you know, networking is important, 80% of jobs are not visible to you. You have to observe, you have to improvise. Today we are saying, okay, you still need a CV. So, and because for many jobs, there can be CVs that you send, thousands and thousands of CVs for the same job. So how do you stand out? How do you differentiate yourself from the rest? So those who have not joined before, and this is your first time, welcome. If you're here again, remember this is another session on what we call career intelligence. So how to be career ready, if you're looking for a job in the future, and what is it that out there that you can learn in terms of how to pass the robots, because not every CV will go to a HR, to a person, because before it may get scanned a little bit, and what are the tips and tricks to sort of stand out and be different from the huge crowd of people who is applying for the same position like you. That's what we will talk about today. So on that note, it is my great pleasure to welcome our guest, our master coach, Sharmistha Chatterjee. She is an expert consultant in human resources. She's focusing on change management. She's also a personal coach with focus on life transition. She used to work for a large holding group, Altair, in the Middle East, who employs over 9,000 people, and also works in different areas such as automotive, retail, luxury brands. So really, really large portfolio. So you cannot get a better person today to speak to you about the tips and tricks or getting your foot through the door to an employer. So thank you so much, Sharmistha, for being with us. Welcome, and please tell us a little bit about you as well.
Thank you, Marketa. And firstly, thank you to everybody who's joined this particular session. It's my honor to be able to talk to you guys and share some thoughts that I have gathered over, 30 odd years of my career in HR in various different fields. So my full name is Sharmistha Chatterjee. I'm from Kolkata, India, but I've literally worked across the globe. I've worked in India, I've worked in the US, and I'm currently working in the Middle East. And there have been certain other projects that I've done in other places. So my specialization is talent management, which starts from talent acquisition up to talent performance and leadership coaching. I am a mentor to many, many young professionals. And I enjoy doing that because this landscape of work has changed so much from when I used to started my career, that I find it very intriguing. Like this term of bots on this online CV or a cyber CV, these were unknown in our times, but it's a reality today, and it's best that we are prepared for it as best as we can. So that's the meaning of these sessions. That's what I do in the career intelligence sessions that I do for Market and a team. And the idea is to share what goes on inside an organization so that you can prepare and do the right things to get noticed. And for that, I'd like you, before I talk about a CV, I'd like to say something, is that any organization is as good as its people. Talent is key to every organization. And by talent, we mean people. So now, where does an organization find its key people or these talented people? They find it in two ways. One is either they recruit from outside, or they build in their own, they train their own people to develop their own skills, right? If you're already in the organization, you will still need a document, a CV, but we will not deal into that right now because that is a slightly different approach. If you're outside the organization, and all organizations will recruit from outside because we need fresh mindsets, we need new skills, we need fresh ideas, we need a differential thinking. So we need people from outside, and we need young people to kind of take on, because as the industries change and technology takes over, definitely people like us with gray hair are not as good as we used to be, and we need to have the young people tell us how to do it better. So people like you are the ones who are getting more and more critical, and you need to have a foot in the door. Now, one thing which I always say is that, and that's the slide that you see, which is half there, which means there are many like you. There are many, unfortunately, like you when I see it from the outside. So I have people who are doing engineering courses, who are doing technical courses, who are doing MBAs. There are millions, there are hundreds at least who will apply at the same time as you will. Your job is to stand out. And to stand out, another term I often use is you need to put a foot in the door. Then only you are able to get into this. To stand out, there are a couple of things that you need to do. And this is what we quickly talk about today. Before that, I also want you to remember, most of you know it, but it's a good thing to remind yourself. And this is what the next slide is about. That however much of time and energy you spend on a CV, unfortunately, that is the time that is spent in reviewing it. So I'm going to tell you, do your best, do your greatest, do it with a lot of skill and emotion and diligence. And then I'm going to tell you, by the way, the recruiters are now going to look into all of this. So it is a bit of a contradictory statement, but it is a fact that initially in an organization, I have a job that needs new skills. So I've written down what the job needs to do. I've written down the kind of specifics of the person who I think can do the job. This is called a job description. And I send it out to recruiters, and I send it out to advertising agencies, LinkedIn, all of that. Now I get a lot of people who respond to those jobs. And if from the bulk, I need to select people who I will take in what I call through the first gate. And then I will take it through the process of talent acquisition or recruitment. The recruiters usually do the screening are very junior recruiters. So they are not really much in the know-how of the technicalities of the job. So they don't really spend much time. And I'll tell you what they look for. Today, more and more, we're getting bots actually doing the initial screening, which means it is an artificial intelligence mechanism to screen out what we don't want to see right now. You may be great, but you do not fit the bill. So, which means unless the machine reads the key terms in your profile, in your CV, you may be a star, but your CV will not even have the benefit of being reviewed. So this is what we'll talk about a little bit more as we go further down, but I'm just telling you, these are certain facts that you want to keep in mind always. Also, and I've seen this so many times in my career, I've had people do a great CV copy, wonderful, really nice, and then use that same copy for every job they apply to. Now, that job could be in India, the job could be in Malaysia, the job could be in a US. One size does not fit all. What usually happens is somebody in your batch or in your senior batch has made a good CV, or what everybody thinks is a good CV, and then that is then shared with the junior class or with the placement team, and everybody comes and makes a photocopy of the same, just changing the details, and then you go. You copy, you paste. Trust me, that's the worst thing you could do for yourself. So when you are looking at a CV writing or a side-based CV writing, please keep in mind that these are not things that you would want to do. Stay away from these basic things. These are pretty essential and things that you just don't want to do. Yeah? So then what is it that you do want to do? I use this term.
So
Yes.
sorry to jump in. I just know I've just been notified, but one of our great students here. I have to just give him a credit. That was Hakimuddin. So our chat was disabled. So now it seems it's on. But with our beautiful guests are using Q&As. So I had a chance to say hello to many of them. But finally, it seems our chat is working. So thank you, Hakimuddin, for bringing that up. And everyone, sorry that your chat was off. Please, we are still watching the chat. So wherever you're connecting from, let us know. If this is your first, second, third, fourth session, please let us know. We're so happy you're here and we want to engage with you. Last week on the session, we had some people doing some funny things. So I think they were sharing some food recipes and we want you to stay focused on the topic. So that's why maybe we try to, be careful with our chat. So please stay on the topic, listen to Sharmistha. This is your most valuable time you will get today in terms of your future career when you're applying for jobs. So listen carefully. And if you have any feedback, any questions, please do ask in the chat window. I will read that question to Sharmistha and ask you. So thank you for being there. Ask questions. All questions are okay, but please do stay on topic. Thank you. Well, over to you, Sharmistha.
Thank you, Margaret. I can see now a lot of questions coming in as well. I see it's a lot of first sessions that I'm seeing that from the students that are responding, which is great because there's always a good point to start. I was just telling everybody that irrespective of how you want to start your job search, you have to have a CV. And your CV has to make it through that first gate. And I was just trying to say how the first gate is usually a very standard gate. It's an artificial intelligence. It's a bot related gate, which means you do not have to show your creativity here. You do not have to be very, what should I say, artistic. You just have to be smart. And then anybody can get through those first gates if you are smart. If I go to the next slide, I'll tell you how you could sail through the next slide. Every organization has a particular language that they use. This is used in their, of course, it could be English, but I'm talking of the nuances of English, the way they communicate, the way they talk to their employees. What are the key words that they use? What are the key phrases that they use? What do they define performance as? What do they define talent as? So every organization has a different way of looking at it. And this comes out in the way they describe the company, in the way they just describe the job role, in the way they describe the people that they want. So what you have to do is be very smart. Every information that that company has provided to you in the job description, or in its LinkedIn page, or in its web page, or in its career portal, you've got to be smart and read that up and understand and identify what I call our keywords and key phrases. And now it is your job to put those keywords into your CV. So, of course, don't be like stupid about it. You've got to be smart, because it has to also match with your skills. It also has to match with the job that is at hand. So you've got to be a little smart about using buzzwords that are going in the particular industry that you want to use, that you want to enter. But make sure that a person reading that or scanning that is finding not just one, but two, three keywords that are matching its own vocabulary, its own dictionary. And straight away, you will make it past the first gate. So it's very, very simple. Study hard the job description, study hard the way the company portrays itself on social media, on digital platforms, and use those keywords in your profile. Then only you will make it past the first gate. Yeah, that's simple enough, right? So that's your first gate where the bot has gone, and you are now in front of the second gate. Now, this is where the trick is. If I go to the next slide, now you can no longer, okay, sorry, let's do a bit of let's see what you
want. A bit of engagement.
Over to you, Marketa.
Yes, guys, thank you all again for being here. So nice to see you in the chat. We're gonna launch a quick poll just to see what do you think how long CV should be, so you can vote. Don't worry about being wrong or being right. It's okay. We're all learning here, right? I'm super curious where Sharmistha's answer is gonna be on that one, or recommendation. And while we are doing it, I'm just gonna quickly chat through the chat window, scan through the chat window, because we have a lot of students here that are here for the first time. So those who are here for the first time, these are, we call this Life Talks, sessions that focus on how to help you in your career progression. Sometimes we speak more about personal life, sometimes more about professional life, but they are connected very much, I guess, right? So we are here trying to help you to become more employable. And today's topic is, if you're applying let's say the traditional way, sending out your CV, how do you make sure that the CV even meets a human eye? Because you have a lot of automation out there. So those CVs that you send get first scanned through a machine, through an algorithm. So before you even get the chance, what are the tips and tricks so that you can stand out from the crowd? So if you have any questions on that, about how to get a job, if you had any bad experience that you want to share, or a good experience that you want to share, please do in the chat, and we will definitely address. And right before I give it back to Sharmistha and your answers, I just want to also say hello to those who are here for the first time, which is Tushar. We also have here Mitul, came for the second time. Mitul, much appreciated. So Mitul didn't give up on us after the first one. Pranav, and then we have here Deepak as well, and Shipra. Hi, Shipra and Shivam. So Anuja, you can also answer on the screen, but Anuja is saying 1 page. Good one. And Ajay is saying as long as it gets. Gayatri saying 1, Roshan 2, and then Ria, Tia, Prathamesh, Bhagyashri is saying also 1. So let's see what these answers are. So I will publish the results and poll and share results. So far it seems, Sharmish, like 1 page. So what do you think?
I think we have a very intelligent lot, Marketa. I'm seriously impressed by the fact that people understand that a young graduate, I mean, look, we are very proud of the things that we've done in the colleges, and we're proud of the things that we've done in our young adult life. But when you are joining the corporate life and you really haven't done much of corporate life, the ideal answer is one. And before I move on to the different parts of the CV, I'd like to say the test of putting all that you've done, so much that you want to share, into one page is actually quite a training for the mind, because it tells you what are the key pieces that need to be highlighted and what are the key pieces that you could keep back for the information, because for your interviews, because your CV is not supposed to tell them everything about you. It's supposed to be used as what I call a hook, as a bait, as a teaser, as a kind of a preview, so that the person now, because remember, you've made it through the first gate, the bot is gone, and you've gone to a junior recruiter who now somewhat understands what this is about. And he or she should find interest in what you have proposed in your CV and should be encouraged to read further. Now, this is something that I share with all my young professionals that I interact with, is that a CV has to be two parts. The first part, which is the top, your name, and what comes immediately after your name, has to be forward leaning, which means it needs to talk about tomorrow. It needs to talk about what skills you will bring to the table. What are your career aspirations? What are the things that you want to do in your career? And what do you think you can add to my organization? Which means these are not things that you have done. This is forward thinking. This is telling me that if you include, I would like to be a data analyst and share my concepts of data analysis, or to make better decision making, so that the company can reduce its costs on marketing and be more effective in slicing and data. That's where I understand that you are getting what I'm trying to say. If the job was of a data analyst and I see something like this in a summary, I'm like, you know what, this guy already gets it. So the summary, you call it profile, you call it summary, you call it whatever, what comes after your name has to be forward leaning, telling the company what you can do for the company. And again, this has to change every time you send a CV out. That's the sad part of it. It has to keep changing, because it has to change to the industry, to the organization, to the job. So that's the forward leaning part of it. Very, very, very critical. Now, let me tell you, at this stage, your recruiter is only going to read up to here. The recruiter is not going to go into the second part of the CV, which is backward leaning, which means all that you have done so far. Because the recruiter still does not understand whether you've done XYZ language, whether you've done this kind of, that's not, remember, a recruiter is usually a generalist, is not necessarily a specialist in IT or audit or finance or anything. So the first part has to be, the forward leaning part has to be the hook, which will engage the recruiter to say, you know what, I think this person understands. Let me send it to the person who is now going to be technically reviewing the CV. So the second part, which is the backward leaning, is going to be of interest to that technical person. Now that person's going to see all that you have done. Does it match with their list of requirements and all of that? And that's when you go about. So always make sure your CV has two parts: forward leaning, backward leaning. That's very, very key. And then you'll make it through the initial gates, right?
Awesome.
That's what I meant. And I trust me, always, always, always works. And this forward leaning part is how you differentiate yourself. Remember, I said you need to get your personality out, because a bot can only read common words. A junior recruiter can only see certain phrases, certain competencies, certain buzzwords that he or she knows. But now you've got to get your personality out of that piece of paper for you to be able to get into an interview stage. And that's when I say you need to differentiate self. And the starting of the differentiation is from the summary, from the forward leaning part. There are other ways in which you can differentiate yourself, especially nowadays with the digital footprints that one leaves. I found it very, very interesting and exciting, where a lot of companies now encourage people to submit videos, especially if it's a customer facing job. and I need somebody with a strong communication skill. So I would want to see how you perform in front of a camera. How confident are you? How well do you speak? Because your personality comes out best when you speak, not necessarily from a piece of paper. How do you what are your interests? What are your likes? What are your dislikes? The person you comes out from a video, and more organizations are asking for candidates to attach a 2 minute 1 to 2 minutes video about themselves, just because I want to see the person. Trust me, again, I've seen so many recruiters move forward CVs that come with attachments of video applications. That is because I'm already seeing a person. In the others, I'm still struggling from a piece of paper. So that's one way. Other ways, you can make your LinkedIn interesting. Not just open LinkedIn because everybody says LinkedIn is important, that's where you get the jobs, and then you don't do anything there. So think about how you can make your digital footprint, your social media. Today, everybody knows you put in an application, your recruiter is going to go into your Instagram, your Facebook. Now, there could be a debate as to yes, no, why, etc. But the fact is, it happens. I mean,
Sharmistha?
yes.
So sorry to jump in. I just want to just go do a quick catch up, because I love that you just started on social media. This is kind of a good segue, because I mentioned our learners, our students, our guests, that on Instagram, we have this every week, this little contest when we ask them to comment on our latest post. And today we ask them to comment there based on what you're learning today from Sharmistha. What is it that it's most key on your CV that will make a difference? And before you do that, I just want to address a few comments, few questions here, and also encourage you to share if you have already applied for a job before, or you have never applied for a job before. Like, what is your experience? Have you done this? Is it depressing? Is it scary? Is it you've never done this before? You're thinking about it? Because the ways to apply for jobs or look for work are many different, right? As I mentioned before, for those who are here for the first time, we had the session when we spoke about improvising, talking to others, connecting, networking. And we also spoke about LinkedIn and said how important LinkedIn is. And I love Sharmistha just mentioned, guys, be careful about your social media, what you put out there. Make sure those Instagram, Facebook, whatever you use, TikTok, I guess, make it private. So because recruiters will check, is this person, how they treat, how they behave, do they drink too much, maybe, etc. So LinkedIn is one that Sharmistha will definitely speak more about again. So whether you have LinkedIn profile, yes, no, do you even know what is LinkedIn? Sharmistha, this is so interesting. We also have here lots of learners that are only in their 20s, and some of them never heard of LinkedIn. I always think they know what it is. So I will at the end of the session also speak about a few of those who did connect with us on LinkedIn, which we are so happy and proud about. I also want to ask, Tanishka is sharing some sad face, and Shrikant also sharing some sad face. So I'm just wondering, what does that mean? What makes them sad, and how can we make them happy if they have any questions? And also I want to ask Hakimuddin, please, Hakimuddin, use English. My Hindi is not that good yet. Whatever or whatever language you speak, some Tamil, maybe, whatever, let me know. I will try to improve in that area. And you can also speak French, German, and Czech, which are my languages. So I'm happy to engage in those, but maybe on a one-to-one. Want to also welcome Mayur, and also want to also I see Nitish already done some comments. So thank you, guys. And also want to remind you all of them, when the session ends, we will also ask you for some feedback. So if you want to get a certification for joining this session, you will have to just stay with us a little bit longer and then tell us what is the one thing that you have learned today. So we want to make sure we understand you. We won't have all the answers, but you have Sharmistha here with all this great knowledge, all this great experience. So ask her, if you're looking for a job, if you had some bad experience, ask her how to make your life easier going forward. So Sharmistha, back over to you. Thank you for letting me jump in.
Thanks, Margaret. It's always important. Social media, we that is the generation I'm speaking to. You live with social media. You're very good at it, but you also need to understand that you need to make your social media work for your job application. Because if you post pictures on Instagram, or you do TikTok videos or reels, or post things on Facebook that does not sync with what you are writing in your CV, then the recruiter gets a bit confused, and the recruiter will look. So I always talk about this one thing, which I will reiterate towards the end, is that they all need to talk the same language, and and if you feel that there is something that you share privately, just make it private. Don't share it with the world. Don't keep it as an open and public. So just be careful about going totally dark, because if I look into a young candidate who's in the 20s, and I see he or she does not have any social media, I'm going to get a little suspicious as a recruiter. So don't go completely dark, but just make sure that what you're sharing out there syncs with what you're saying. If you're saying your hobbies are traveling, and in none of your social media, there are any pictures of you traveling, or doing anything vaguely related to traveling, I'm going to get a little suspicious. So just as an example, just be careful that they all talk about the same things. Also, today's day and age, especially after COVID, highlight technology familiarity. Everybody is very keen to know, can you work from home? Can you do remote work? How familiar are you with the technology that is used, like Teams or any kind of Dropbox or Zoom? The works, you know it better than me. So just make sure that these are things that you write. A standard thing that I get asked from most students is, I don't have work ex, so what do I write? Because people ask me for work experience. The question, why do people ask for work experience as an organization? Because I need to know that you understand the concept of work. I don't want you to have done the same work before, but I want to know, have you worked in a group? Have you been able to stick to deadlines? Have you been able to manage your time? Now, aren't all of this what you do as projects in your schools, colleges, engineering schools, B schools? We've all done that. So all I say is, convert those projects into learning points and bring them across. If you have been somebody who's been great at bringing some sanity, that there are too many points of view, and you have been able to enable or facilitate a consensus, that's a great learning point. And that is what needs to come across in your CV. And that is where you will differentiate yourself from the 50 others who've also done projects and do not talk about this particular point. So think hard about what is a learning point from your own CV, and then see whether you can turn it around to show how different you are. Another time for another poll now. Over to you, Marketa. Marketa, I can't hear you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sharmistha. Another poll. We are asking, guys, what do you think? Should there be a photo on your resume? Should there be a photo on your CV? And while you are answering, Sharmistha, we have some so nice comments, so nice chat. Saif said that I have done it before making CV. One should have its own SWOT analysis for having great impact on CV, which will make Sharmistha so happy, because I know that's what she suggests always, to do this research, right, Sharmistha? SWOT analysis on CV.
Absolutely. I think the first thing you need to do before you even attempt writing a CV is to understand what your strengths and weaknesses are. So a SWOT starts with strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And if you have been able to do that exercise, and I'm sorry, I forgot his name. What was his name?
It's actually Saib and Yash. They're saying the same thing.
Okay, then you guys are stars, and I love you already. It is absolutely important, because before you write a CV, unless you know what your strengths are, even your weaknesses are, it shows me as a recruiter that you are self-aware. And that shows me that you are high potential as workers in my organization. So this is a very, very good point, and congratulations on already having done it. And now your job is to bring forward your strengths as a positive. Also, bring forward maybe a weakness as an opportunity to learn. Because remember, none of us are gods. We all have areas where we develop. And if you are already telling me that, I'm great at A, B, C is where I know is important, and I've already worked on this particular plan to improve C. You're telling me you're a great candidate. You have extremely high self-awareness, and I would really be interested to meet you, if not anything else. And remember, that's the job of a CV, to get me to meet you. on a face-to-face, and then you take it on from there. So congratulations on having done that step. I love it already.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. And I think there is something happening in our chat, because that same question coming from a lot of people. So I don't know if they are so much interested in that SWOT analysis, or it's somebody just Atif is kindly trying to also stop people from spamming. But I don't know what's happening. But everybody, I'm happy that we pointed the SWOT analysis on ourselves. I guess it's always useful to be aware of it. And as it comes to the result, Sharmistha, on having a photo on a resume, seems like we should have it. So what do you think?
I tend to agree, because honestly speaking, even if you don't put a resume, a picture on your resume, people will go on your social media and will see how you find. On the contrary, a resume picture gives you an opportunity to bring out your professional side. So when people do a picture, I would strongly recommend not a picture that your friend has done, but a really professional picture or a headshot, which is done specifically for things like LinkedIn and your CV. I always encourage my students or people who are young like you to get a professional headshot and use it for both LinkedIn and use it for your CV, because it talks about you not in a casual way, but to say that you are serious in your job search and you show a very professional side of you. So I tend to agree. And again, as I said before, this is a very intelligent audience. So yes, I would say put a CV, put a photo on your CV, but not just a regular photo, not a passport size boring photo, but a general headshot. And you'll have many sites which will tell you what kind of pictures are required. But it should be, and in fact, nowadays, if you go to a studio and you see a LinkedIn photograph, they know exactly what you're talking about. And a professionally done photograph on a CV makes a big difference. So, Margaret, I hope that's the answer. Again, I can't hear you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And yes, and also I see Sakshi is asking which order we place our details in our CV. I think that was something, Sharmistha, you were talking about, the backward leaning, etc. Right? So in which order? I guess especially for students, right? Like, and this is a very great question, Sakshi. Thank you. I also never know what to tell the students. Like, I personally would prefer putting work experience or project experience first, because what you've studied, people more care about the work you have done, you have delivered. But Sharmistha, please tell us which order.
I would personally firstly use this particular slide that we're looking at to say that the forward looking first is obviously your name, your picture, your details. Again, not too many, don't go into too much of details. And secondly, most important is your personal statement or a summary of your thing, which talks about the forward leaning, what skills you bring to the table and how they match the job that you're applying for. Strengths could be a good place to say that, these are the things that you are. And I said you could even include a weakness, which is fine. I tend to agree with Marketa that any kind of learning that you've done from a internship, from a project, from that would be more interesting to me rather than your academic credentials as an organization. Academic credentials, yes, has to be there, but please don't go back to your class 10. So just start with the last and keep it at there. And again, keep it to basics that a recruiter understands. And also add in a few things, like, for example, you've got a great LinkedIn page. You've got a very good website that you've kind of created. You've got a portal that you manage. You've got a couple of articles that have been published. Anything that, or a couple of photographs that you've taken that have been published, a poetry that you've written, that doesn't matter. Remember, these are all differentiators. Something that I keep telling, today's day and age, don't break your head over layouts. There are some very free downloadable templates available online, and I use one called Canva, which is very standard. It has many different styles. There are many others also. It doesn't matter which one you use, but these are simple, these are professional, these look good, and they give you the flexibility to kind of tweak. So Market, if you could just write down the Canva name in the chat so that they could just kind of have a look at it, and make sure that you're not reinventing the wheel. Just look at what you have there, use it, highlight what the content is important, not necessarily the layout, just copy it. Don't break your head over that. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sharmistha, and I'm happy you mentioned Canva. But we always recommend students LinkedIn, Canva. Then we also mentioned some other company names, and I was like, they're gonna think that we're like
No, we're not
supporters
trained
or
to
whatever.
say
You're not
that. We're
selling
not trained
anything.
to say that.
But I personally, all these slides that you're seeing today, for example, I've made on that platform, and it's good because it's free. So that's why you can get there lots of CV templates. And somebody was asking, what is the using the word CV. Sometimes we say the word resume, and CV, it's an abbreviation for curriculum vitae, which is the Latin word. And a few more students were asking about it. So is there any difference, Sharmistha, between CV and resume? I think it's a length, isn't it? One is longer or something.
Exactly. It's just that it's a CV is a much stronger, more detailed. Resume is a very, very commonly used word today. Even if profile would honestly, these are logistics or semantics rather. I don't think people pay too much attention, and I don't think the students should also pay too much attention to that. As the main thing is write your details, send out what will get you through the door. You don't even have to put a title on top saying this is my CV. One look at it and you can see it's your CV. You don't need to write it's a resume. You can anyway see. So it doesn't, don't break your head over these things. This is not important.
Thank you, Sharmistha. Before I will start my ramble again on Instagram and I want to also do some shout out to people on LinkedIn. I want to hand it over. And also I will remind about feedback again. I want to hand it over to our colleague Anindita, who also will probably ask some questions. Anindita, over to you.
Hi, Sharmistha. Actually, I was going through the chat boxes and the questions posted by the students on the chat box, and I came across an interesting question which I would like to ask you. Asim Parashar is asking you, should one use only simple language or flowery language while creating a CV?
Absolutely. Firstly, thank you. That's a very, very relevant question. And it absolutely is something I should have mentioned. So thank you for pointing it out. Simple language, please. You know, in school, we use very flowery language because we try to impress the teacher and get lots of fat marks. I've done the same. When you move over to the professional life, please make sure that you use simple language. Remember, again, I told you the process. It's going to be a machine first looking at it, a junior recruiter. None of them will get impressed with all these flowery languages. On the contrary, you may lose out on an opportunity. So please make sure that it is crypt, it is simple, and it is easy to understand. So all your impression, if you really need to impress somebody, do it in the interview where you could show that you have a slightly advantage in terms of your language skills, but not definitely at your CV. No.
Thank you. I think that was really interesting, and I think they will remember this. Another question which I came across, because we all agreed that one can use a good smart headshot. So Ajay was asking you that some companies do not accept photos in their CV.
Yes, of course. There are some, there are, Anadita, there are some organizations, there are some countries in which it is actually illegal because it tends to feel that, there is some kind of discrimination involved in actually seeing the person. So there are many, many organizations, there are many countries that do not. Marketa, in Australia, they told us that they don't use a picture when they kind of put in their CVs. So it's absolute, you have to pay attention to what your company wants. And which is where I said that, you have to read up about the company. You have to understand the culture of the company before you kind of apply. Because while I say it is standard, it may not be, because there are many, many organizations specifically for the Western world where this could be used as a point of discrimination, which they are very, very wary about. So you have to be very and careful about this and not use your CV where the company does not encourage it. Definitely.
Yeah, thank you for that. And one more thing, which I think, some of the students here are first year students just out of school. So I think the question which Sania has asked would find resonance in quite a few is, what is the difference between a curriculum vitae and my LinkedIn profile? I mean, because, students who are not in LinkedIn, who aspire to be on LinkedIn, gets a little confused as to how do I go about creating a LinkedIn profile and how do I link it back to my CV?
It's, I think, a wonderful question and shows an extremely sharp intellect. So thank you very much to the lady who asked it, the young girl, actually. And
Tanya.
it's very, very important. See, LinkedIn has a very different, let's say, the objective of LinkedIn is professional networking, which means that in LinkedIn, what you put out as part of your profile talks about all the things of your profession, which starts with your curriculum, with your academic curriculum, then goes on to all the kind of jobs you've done, your kind of volunteering that you've done, the associations that you're a member of. Now, all of this is more for, as I said, the primary objective is networking, professional networking. It is not necessary. LinkedIn is not created for applications of jobs. Whereas that foot in the door that I spoke about is not going to come through LinkedIn. You could be headhunted through LinkedIn, but that is usually at a much more higher stage when you have gathered a lot more under your belt. At this stage where you are, your CV is what is going to get you through that first door. You should have a LinkedIn, but it's a very basic level. I mean, at your level at LinkedIn, you're just about beginning. And for you, LinkedIn is an opportunity to learn, to see what other organizations are doing, to see what, let's say, if you are, as I say, again, I go back to the data analysis. What are the new trends in data analysis? So whatever field you are in, if you're a beautician or whatever, it's a good learning platform for you. And it's good to be part of the platform and to be seen to be part of the platform. It is not an application method. It is not a channel for application, definitely not at this stage. So while you should have one and use it as a learning point, your CV is where you need to talk about all the things that we said, the forward leaning, the backward leaning, and all of this put together. So it's actually very different. It's actually not an apple to apple comparison at all. It's more of an apple to orange.
Thank you, Sharmistha. I think we are getting into almost the closure of this session. But before I hand over to Marketa, I just wanted to mention a couple of things regarding the certification, because a lot of students are asking in the chat box as to how they get a certificate. Okay, so we issue a certificate of participation of attending this session. And if you are attending for 2 minutes and 3 minutes and 10 minutes and expecting a certificate, please don't. Okay, we hope that, while Mr. Hakibuddin or whosoever the person is, I don't think it is his real name because I couldn't find his name in the session. While he has been quite a disruptive element in this session, but I think he was trying to be funny. But then the only thing is that you get a certificate only when you have a real name and not the name of the device that you're logging in with, a Dell or an Oppo. And you have been a part of this session. This is a 45-minute session. So you have been a part of this session for the majority of the session, so that you learn something out of it. And secondly, there would be a feedback at the end of this session. When Marketer closes, it will pop up in your screen and you're requested to please post your feedback. And after that, even then, if you have not got your certification, which is very, very, which should not happen at all, you can always write to me, adas@employability.life. I have already given my email ID in the chat box. Okay. Now hand over to Marketa. Marketa, over to you.
Thank you so much, Anindita. Thank you, Sharmistha, for great answers. I just want to say hello to Aparna. She's sending some very nice messages. And I also want to highlight, guys, if you are here to being disruptive, come on, there are so much better places to be than here to disturb others. Why are you choosing this place? We are here to learn, but obviously we don't want you to be bored. So it's hard to find a balance. We have to be very serious because we want to give you some valuable information, because getting job can be quite serious. It can be quite daunting task. It can be quite hard. So it is a serious topic. At the same time, we don't want you to be really bored, because 45 minutes, it's a long time. So the balance there, it's quite hard to find. But we hope you have a good time. You hope you learn something. As Anindita said, there will be feedback form at the end of the session. So tell us what is the one thing that you've learned today, so it can stick in your head. I really love the question about the flattering language, using those complicated words. Just use simple language. There was also another question about the AI, how we put our CV. Sharmistha mentioned the word keywords. So you always look for the keyword. So if you look for a job online, you find the job description. Look at the job description, find those words that are in the job description, and make sure that those words will appear in your actual curriculum vitae, resume, whatever you want to call it, or on your LinkedIn profile. Look for the job description keywords and make sure they will appear there, so the machine will see that there is a match. So that's that sort of matching. And also I mentioned to you, we have this competition on Instagram, and I want to congratulate Himant Khajuria. He is from the RSMD, Arts, Commerce and College in Nagpur. So he won our t-shirt because he commented on our last session where we were speaking about emotional intelligence, how to handle stress, how to handle anger. This week we are asking you on Instagram, and I have shared the Instagram URL in the chat window. So what was that one thing that you found is the most key in putting into your CV to make it through the door, through the dots? And you can also then learn from each other, I hope. No spamming, please. And also, last but not least, I want to give shout out to students that already are on LinkedIn and that have shared without, we didn't even ask them. I swear, you can watch the recordings on the previous session. They have went on their LinkedIn profiles, which serves as their portfolio, which, as we were saying, those social media platform, where they have shared their certificates from joining these sessions, and they have left some very nice comments. We had Devyani, we have Sejal, we had Anushka, we had Utkarsh, we had Shivam, we have Gaurav, and we had Sarita. So I want to, guys, thank you so much for sharing that on LinkedIn. I really hope this will be useful to you. And please remember, all of us, me, Sharmistha, Miss Anindita, we're all on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a network. So you can drop us a message, nice message, if you need any help, because that gives you that practice to connect with others, talk to others, ask for help, and LinkedIn in general, you will learn there a lot about the industry of your interest. During this session, Sharmistha was speaking about how can you differentiate yourself. Maybe you can write a nice article. I have one of our students, her name is Kashish. She became a copywriter, and she uses LinkedIn a lot to promote her writing. So that's a way to promote your skills. So this can be a very creative way how to share things about yourself. So remember, there will be also a feedback form where you can tell us how we can do things better. And last but not least, I want to invite you for a session next Friday when we will speak about digital body language. So I don't want to say it doesn't mean like how to become a YouTuber really, but Sharmistha was talking to you about this CV where you maybe have to submit a video profile where you have to say in 1 minute something about yourself. I'm, for example, Maruti. I'm student here and there, and I've done projects. I've been a project leader, and I want to become an entrepreneur. I want to be successful. So how do you present yourself during webinars, during meetings like these? How do you conduct yourself? So all that we will speak about next Friday. So this is all from me. Thank you so much. Anindita, over to you. Thank you so much, Sharmistha, if you have any buys. And thank you everyone who nicely engaged in our chat window. And feel free to also contact us through our email address if you need anything. Thank you.
Thank you, Marketa. I have just posted my email ID. In case you have any queries, you can definitely connect back. But before we say bye, I think one question came up which I missed out. It came late. Sharmistha, if you can just take 2 minutes and address it. If a person is an undergraduate, how does one create a CV? And what do they write in that CV? I think that is a question from a lot of people here. So I couldn't close the session without asking you to address it.
That's possibly very, very relevant, especially given the students or the kind of audience that I have. A CV can be created for anybody. Even if you're in grade 4, you can create a CV. It doesn't matter because you're talking about yourself. You can create a CV when you have done a lot, or when you have just started. It doesn't really matter. A CV or a resume is basically letting other people know. I use this term very often, is that it's creating a flyer for yourself. Now, who you are, how does that person know? Somebody who hasn't seen you. Remember, a CV is going to reach a person who has not seen you and who you want him or her to show interest and see you. That's the point of a CV, right? So basically, even if you're an undergraduate, there are a lot of things that you have done. Okay, you do have your dreams, you do have your aspirations, you do know roughly the areas that interest you. So you can write a summary of profile. You could write, what are the things broadly that interest you? Maybe you're interested in artificial intelligence. Maybe you're interested in global warming. Maybe you're interested in organic farming, or you're interested in copywriting. It really doesn't matter. And these are things that, even a high school person can talk about. So these are things which are telling the world that what kind of a person. It's basically giving shape to you, your persona, without meeting you. So as undergraduate, you can write your area of interest of what you're interested in as a summary, and then talk about your strengths. You are very good at communication. You're a debater in school. You are a kind of a convener of activities in your school and college. So you can talk about, again, your strengths, because your strengths and your weakness are not linked to your age. They can come at any point of time. So these are still things that you can write. So you write your name, you write your profile, you write your strengths. The part that you may get stuck is work experience, which obviously as an undergraduate you do not have, which is fine. If you have any kind of internship, summer work that you've done, anything that you've done, great. You talk about it. As I said, you convert it into a learning point, saying that I have worked as a McDonald's, the world at the McDonald's outlet, and I have developed great customer service skills. You can do that as a high school person, right? It doesn't really matter. If you have that, great. If you don't have that, don't panic. Talk about things you've done in school. Talk about things you've done in college. And talk about all of these as a learning point to say, when you know that the area that you want, for example, if you want to become a television presenter, then obviously presentation, communication, these are important things. So now talk about anything that you've done in your school and college, which obviously you must have done if you're interested in that field, that can contribute, that can shape the persona without the person seeing you. So talk about, you've done, as I said, you've done a presentation, you've been MC, you've done any communication courses, you are a part of Toastmasters, anything that all these happen at the Spigma K, all of these happen at the school and college level, and they're all fine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be very heavy duty, work level information that you have to share. So you can share a very, very impactful CV even as an undergraduate using the same format. The only thing that you need to be aware of is that it should be in sync with who you want to be. Why do you want that person to look at your CV? And why do you want that person to engage with you in a conversation? So there has to be that interest, that differentiating factor. But of course you can do it. And as I said, the format remains pretty much the same. But you need to be able to highlight things in your life, and not because obviously if I'm looking at a CV of a 19-year-old, and I have done that, I've seen a coder CV, he was all of 19, and he's from a school in Chennai. And now how much is he going to write in a CV? But as a coder, how much do I need? And he's got enough of coding experience. So again, as an institution or as an organization, we're not totally daft. We do understand that if you're looking at a CV of a fresh graduate or an undergraduate, I'm not expecting the word to show up in there, but I'm expecting honesty. I'm expecting to see the person. I'm expecting to see how this person shows potential. And these are the things that you need to bring out, and anybody can do it. You can do it as a high schooler. You can definitely do it as an undergraduate or as a fresh graduate. Does that answer your question, Andrita?
It does. I think a lot of students in this webinar had that query, because I assume some of them are from first years and second years, and I think this is really, really, and this should be really helpful for them. Okay, and I hope all of you agree with me for this. So
Thank
thank
you.
you so much, Sharmistha, and I'm extremely sorry that we overshot, but I thought that it was important that these queries are answered. So I took the liberty of extending a little bit. Apologies for that. Mark it over to you to the closing.
Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you so much, Sharmistha. Sorry, yes, it was too long, but
No, it's okay.
we
It's
spoke.
always a pleasure, as long
We
as
are
there's
very
a
passionate.
benefit.
We are very passionate. We love talking about this. We love helping you. We love being useful to you. So please share your feedback and hope to see you again,
And
everyone.
most
Thank you.
important, Market, I always say this to all the people who I work with, is that I am a learner. I'm 55 years old. I'm still a learner. There's no end to learning. So whether you're a 15-year-old or you're a 55-year-old. We are all here learners, and we can learn from one another. That's the whole point of this entire sessions, I think. So I guess if we all keep on that learning mode, it'll always be a step up for us. So thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you for all who listened.
Thank you, guys. See you
Thank
again.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.